Hello, Curious. I don't think there's a series of movies as popular and beloved as the James Bond films are, and probably will be for a very long time. Many actors have taken on the role of 007, and seeing how popular the franchise is, it is safe to assume that many more will take on the challenge. But there is one actor in particular who is most associated with the spy. He is the first one who brought James to our screens and made the character what he is today. I am of course talking about Sir Sean Connery, the man who took on the role and made it his own. Though it has to be said that while this is the role that truly helped put the Scottish actor out there, he wasn't always so happy with his on-screen persona. What were his reasons to dislike portraying the role? What were the causes or disputes between him and the producers? And how did he contribute to the author paying homage to him in one of the books? And stay with me as we look back at the most iconic portrayal of the role and his ups and downs with it. But before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and the subscription button so you don't miss any of our videos. Over the weekend, we have heard some pretty upsetting news, not only for films, but for anyone who has ever watched the James Bond movies. On October 31st, we have learned that the actor who first took on the role, Sir Sean Connery, had passed away at the age of 90. He was born Thomas Sean Connery in Fountainbridge area of Edinburgh on August 25th of 1930. In 1946, age 16, he had joined the Navy. Sean was discharged age 19 due to medical reasons. The actor had started his acting career in 1953 when he started appearing in theater productions. From there on, he played in several British movies, TV shows, and TV movies, though without a doubt it was the role of James Bond that made his name known. His final movie was in 2003 titled The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. When it came to casting the actor who would take on the role of 007, Connery wasn't even at the top of it, and according to Richard Maibaum, who adapted the novels onto the screenplays, the author Ian Fleming had thought that David Niven would have made a great Bond, and at the same time, Roger Moore was also considered. And if you are a fan of the timeline of the spy hero, you will know that later on, both of these actors would go on to take the role. Hollywood legend Cary Grant was also considered for the role but declined. Richard Todd was also Fleming's first choice, but scheduling conflicts prevented him from getting the role. Many others were also approached, but in the end, Connery's bad boy vibe had ultimately won him the part. When it came to the films, the Scottish actor gave a lot of credit to director Terence Young for informing on his role. In an interview with IndieWire in 2002 while on the set of his last movie, the actor spoke about the character, despite claims that it was a topic that he had long stopped talking about. Speaking with the journalist, Sean revealed that Young was a true creator of the on-screen 007 persona, especially the way he dressed as Terence himself was up to date with the latest fashion. When asked in the interview why he thought Bond took off with Dr. No in '62, Connery responded that it was because it offered a way out of the dramas that were shown in the UK in the late 1950s, and he said, "It was refreshing and had a certain kind of style, although it didn't cost anything because we only had 1 million to make the picture." The actor's thoughts on the movies are well documented through many interviews that he gave over the years. In his years as the super spy, he appeared in 6 movies in total, though he had the most fun on the first 3. Dr. No, From Russia with Love, which was his personal favorite, and Goldfinger, the movie that introduced him to his lifelong love of golf, though he often said that after those films, playing the character had become a drag for him. He had already started to be dismissive of the movies while he was still making them, and in 1964, when he had portrayed 007 for the 3rd time, and while Goldfinger was already in production, the actor spoke out about the man he was portraying in an interview, and according to Vanity Fair, Connery had said that in his opinion, Bond was just a dull, prosaic English police, once all the exotic touches had been removed. Though towards the end of that year, he also did an interview with the New York Times in which he was quick to give credit where credit was due.
Bond. James Bond.
He said that he will never deny that the role of the spy was the one that had made him and that he will be everlastingly grateful to him, though in the same interview he also highlighted that it does not make him a Bond slave and he can cut his shackles free anytime he wants to. Later, in November the following year, an article in the Playboy magazine stated that Sean had mixed feelings about his on-screen alter ego and also revealed that at the time he told a reporter that Bond's been good to him so he shouldn't knock on him, but he also confessed that he's fed up to hear with the whole Bond bit. So as you can see, Curious, this actor has always had mixed feelings about the role he was playing. By the time he started shooting You Only Live Twice, his fifth Bond movie, Connery had fallen out with the producer, who also played an important role in him getting hired. His feelings for the part were not improved by the fact that at the time, he was stalked and chased by paparazzi during filming, or that he felt that he wasn't getting paid enough, a decision that was made that this would have been the last time he would have portrayed 007. However, skipping out on the 1969's on Her Majesty's Secret Service, where the hero was played by George Lazenby, the Scotsman returned for one final part as his on-screen alter ego in the 1971 movie Diamonds Are Forever. Though do not be mistaken that his decision was out of love for the character. The year of the movie's release, he did an interview with The Guardian in which he had said, "I'd been frigged about too much on other Bond pictures. There's so much shit that comes from bad decisions being made at the top." He had struck a deal to be paid $10,000 per week if the film's shoot ran over the originally scheduled 18 weeks. By the end of it all, he was so fed up with the money that he ended up giving his fee to charity. In another interview for the same publication, he had even gone on to say, and here we quote, "I have always hated that damn James Bond. I'd like to kill him." So curious, as you can tell, this man has a bit of a love-hate relationship with the character that had propelled him to international fame. However, it's no surprise that when most people think of James Bond, it's exactly Sean Connery that they think of. Though despite his opinions, his portrayal of 007 had a lasting impact not only on the ways of all other actors who took on the codename that portrayed him, but also on the decisions of the author. And as I've mentioned before, Connery was not Fleming's first casting choice. He changed his mind after seeing Dr. No. After thinking that the actor did such an amazing job, Ian decided to write to the actor's heritage into the character, and so into the book. You Only Live Twice, he wrote that the spy's father was Scottish and was from the town of Glencoe. The actor's portrayal was so appreciated that in 2003, his Bond was listed as the third best hero in cinema history by the American Film Institute. Though how did all that success translate into Mr. Connery's bank account? According to Live Biography for the first Bond movie, he received a paycheck of $125,000, in which these times when actors make millions seems like nothing. The next installment saw a rise of payout of $250,000. After Goldfinger, his pay had rocketed to a whopping total of $3.05 million. Thunderball had only brought in a check of $750,000, and in the 1967 You Will Only Live Twice, $1 million. However, it was Diamonds Are Forever, which by some is considered to be the best Bond film, that brought in the biggest payout with an estimated $6.725 million. And according to Celebrity Net Worth, at the time of his passing, the Scottish actor had an estimated total of $350 million. And speaking of all his movies about 007, the estimated box office revenue from his films is thought to be around $776.1 million. It's also worth adding that the actor turned down a $5 million paycheck to star in Live and Let Die, where ultimately the role was then given to Roger Moore. And since, as I've mentioned many times, Sean Connery's portrayal is what most people think of when they hear the character's name, let's look at how the films have changed as the years have went by. Obviously, each actor portrayed 007 in their own way, but it'd be too long to discuss each one separately. So if you would be interested in more videos about the agent, then let us know in the comments. While Connery's portrayal that was a little suave and classically handsome compared to the latest actors Daniel Craig, about whom we also have a video, whose version of Bond was more flawed and emotionally damaged, though it has been hailed as being the closest to the Fleming character in the book since that of the original actor. Other changes as the films went on included the Bond girls. Throughout the movies, they could have been categorized into two groups, one being women who were strong and independent, and the others who were easily charmed by the spy. But as time progressed, social attitudes changed, and so did the women in the movies. In recent, had 007 gone up and slapped the behind of one of his female co-stars, even if for the role, it would have been unacceptable. So things have changed, and the female companions are no longer seen as just eye candy and decoration for the main star, but they now have also become key elements of the plot, and their characters have their own developed stories. Another thing that has greatly changed over the years has been the films themselves. While the early ones have a simple plot that focuses on one of the characters, which was due not to have an action sequence every few minutes, let us be honest, all that action and high-speed chasing is something the modern audiences have come to expect. aspect. And now, with how technology has progressed in recent years, it is much easier to make big flashy fight scenes with explosives than it would have been during the first film. And though that's not to say that the old or the new films are better or worse, because each film and each actor have brought something new and special to that role. So curious, were you aware of how Sean Connery had felt about the role he was most famous for? Were you surprised at his earnings from the early films? And tell me, who's your favorite Bond? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like and share and subscribe to our channel.